It's November in 1991, and a group of tourists is on safari in Timbavati, home of the legendary white lions. The group hopes to catch a glimpse of the rare white lions in the wild when their vehicle breaks down. A pride of 24 lions starts surrounding them. The people are stranded, and it's a mile walk back to camp.
Listen, I think there's something there. Look there.
Panic sets in, and the lions smell the fear.
Keep your voices down.
Among the group is South African Linda Tucker.
We were surrounded by the lions at night and in a state of terrible panic, like prey in an open butcher's shop. It was terrifying, and there was no way out of that situation.
Suddenly, out of the darkness, a human form appears. A local tribeswoman fearlessly walks through the hostile lions. She's a Shangaan medicine woman, known in these parts as Maria Khoza, the Lion Queen of Timbavati. She will lead Linda and the group to safety. The experience is a life-changing event for Linda Tucker. It prompts her to leave her busy advertising career in London and return to Timbavati and the Shangaan tribe.
And I just gave it all up one day and returned to find Maria. And she introduced me to the mysteries behind the white lions, the Shangaan myths and legends that make them sacred.
Armed with a master's degree in medieval symbolism from Cambridge University, Linda seeks out African elders to teach her their ancient knowledge.
Cuts through evil.
One of these elders is the Shangaan medicine woman who rescued her in 1991, Maria Khoza. While Linda is learning the ancient folklore of her native land, she finds herself on a compelling journey to protect the white lion. Maria and the Shangaan tribe believe that white lions are the sacred spirits of their ancient kings, which must be protected at all costs. In Maria's own words, if you harm the white lion, you harm the land. If you kill the white lion, you kill the land. White African lions are the result of a genetic mutation. In Timbavati, lions carry a recessive gene that lessens the brown pigment in their coats. When both male and female parents carry this gene, there's a chance they'll have white cubs. In Shangaan folklore, these rare white lions have occurred in the Timbavati region for centuries. But during the past 3 decades, white lions have been removed from Timbavati and placed as curiosities in zoos and wildlife parks across the globe. At present, there are about 500 captive white lions. None have been seen in the wild in several years, and no one knows whether they'll be seen again in Timbavati. It's an area which has had very little human intervention and supports an abundance of wildlife. The Shangaan tribe hopes to see white lions back here. Hosi Khoza, the nephew of Linda's teacher Maria, is the tribe's chief.
The white lion should return to Timbavati. It belongs here with us, and it's an important part of our culture. It is a sacred animal that is part of our ancient wisdom.
It's the new millennium, and Maria throws the ancient bones. She tells Linda that a special white lioness has been born, and it's Linda's duty to find the cub and bring her to Timbavati. Linda hears of a white cub born on Christmas Day in a town called Bethlehem, renowned for breeding lions for the hunting trade. These cubs were taken away from their mothers at birth to be raised for hunting trophies or used to breed further generations of cubs. Linda promises to rescue the little white lioness from this future.
I made a pledge to her that I would not rest until I had returned her to the land that is her birthright, Timbavati.
Linda arranges for adoption rights to the cubs, and she visits her at the camp over the following year. An African shaman names the cub Mara, mother of the sun god. It takes 4 years for Linda to secure Mara's adoption. And by this time, she's already had her first litter of cubs. 2 males, Regius and Letaba, and a female cub, Zaira. Linda's cause has quadrupled, but she remains undaunted. Linda forms the Global White Lion Protection Trust in 2002 and secures land in Timbavati where she can keep Mara and her cubs in a protected habitat.
The white lions have a right to be protected in their own right as animals. And actually much more than that. They are sacred animals according to the Shangaan beliefs. And I frankly support the Shangaan on that.
She enlists the help of Jason Turner, a lion ecologist who's researching the lion prides in Timbavati. Jason studies past lion reintroductions and plans a program which will slowly integrate the 4 lions into a natural environment.
I'm basing their introduction protocol on the principles of the World Conservation Union and what we've learned from past lion introductions. Some scientists believe that past lion introductions have failed because the lions were too habituated or too familiar with humans. In the early lion introductions, the lions were hand-reared, whereas in our protocol, we're going to ensure that there's no human contact unless the lions need to be darted for veterinary purposes.
The goal of the trust is to obtain special protected status for white-colored lions so that future generations of Mara's cubs can live safely in the Timbavati Reserve. To get to that point, Jason will release Mara and her cubs into 2 progressively larger enclosures. In Phase 1, they'll enter a 7.5-acre acclimation boma. In Phase 2, the lions will enter a 741-acre reintroduction area, where they'll learn to hunt for themselves. In Phase 3, Linda hopes to release the offspring of Mara's cubs into the Timbavati Reserve, if white lions are ever granted protected status. By 2005, Linda brings Mara and her cubs to their new home in Timbavati. It's a big moment.
It's just extremely emotional because it's been such a long battle. And it's something that should have come so easily because the lions have a right to exist here.
The young family awakes in the acclimation boma. Compared to their sparse, captive environment, the African landscape is alien and hostile. The white lions are finally home, and Phase 1 begins. The project has attracted a lot of media attention. But Linda has also attracted criticism from the scientific community. Many scientists, like Paul Funston of the African Lion Working Group, believe conservation efforts should address the whole lion population, rather than focusing only on lions that happen to be white.
In the Timbavati system, we know that the genes for these white lions probably still exist. and whether we really need to worry about, facilitating and artificially contriving a situation where these lions are back in the wild versus investing our energies and time, etc., in conserving lions at a greater sort of global scale is questionable.
Although Linda's project is well-intentioned, the entire African lion population is vulnerable. Her greatest challenge will be convincing her critics that white-colored lions should be singled out for protection. Mara and her cubs acclimatize to their new lifestyles in Phase 1 of the White Lion Reintroduction Project. They're in an enclosed area which is full of new experiences. Even trees are a novelty, but Zaira has already mastered her climbing skills. Full-grown lions find it more difficult to navigate among the branches, and Zaira's bulky brothers are already struggling to get a grip on climbing. During their stay in the acclimation boma, the lions are fed on whole carcasses of native Timbavati prey. Jason and his team try to avoid habituating the lions to humans by feeding them from behind screens in an attempt to minimize visual imprinting.
Since the lions have arrived here, although they were captive bred, we've never approached them on foot and there's been no human contact. Even though they recognize the feed truck, we intentionally chose a vehicle that is not commonly used as a tourist vehicle or for research, so that once the lions are in the greater Timbavati, they won't associate vehicles with feeding.
The project's protocol is rigorous, but there are circumstances Linda and Jason cannot control. For example, lions have an excellent sense of smell and might associate human scent with feeding. The lions are starting to display natural instincts in this new habitat, like competition for food. Lions are highly sociable carnivores, but there's always a healthy scrap at mealtimes. Mara teaches her cubs a lion must always guard its kill. It's a good sign for the next phase of the project, where they'll need to be self-sufficient. While Mara and her 3 cubs adapt to their new environment, Linda's team is prepping a larger enclosure for Phase 2 of the project. Enclosed with predator-proof fencing, the 741-acre habitat is where the white lions will learn to hunt live prey. During Phase 2, Linda and Jason will need to keep a check on Mara and her cubs to ensure that they are safe and healthy. They decide to fit radio collars on Mara and one of her sons so they can track the pride and monitor their progress in the larger enclosure. But first, the lions need to be darted with a sedative. To distract the lions, Jason provides them with a carcass.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's the guy we're going to collar.
He assists the vet and keeps essential research logs for the reintroduction project. The lions are sedated and the team gets to work. The 2 collars have been specially made for Mara and her son Lataba.
Just grab her head.
It's about 12 breaths from the
I just want to show you his paw. Like that's the size of the paw. It gives you an idea of how big it's going to be.
Jason takes blood samples. he hopes to find a genetic marker showing that white lions are their own subspecies of lion. If he can find this, he hopes to get them unique protection.
Now they're all okay.
But most scientists, like Dr. York, argue that white lions are not a distinct species.
A subspecies is actually a concept that is man-made. There is no definitive definition for exactly what a subspecies is. Personally, I don't see white lions being declared a subspecies as ever happening. Currently, there are two accepted subspecies of lions, the African lion and the Asiatic lion. Among the African lions, just about all of the genetic variation that one's been able to measure can be explained primarily by geographic distance. The farther away the lions are from one another, the less genetically related they are.
It's time for the final preparations for Phase 2.
This is the next step. A whole herd of wildebeest arriving, 23, and wildebeest are the preferred prey of the lions.
The new habitat is ready for the lions.
Incredibly exciting. This is the last step before we get on to the cats.
The day has arrived, and it's time for Linda and Jason to open the Boma Gate and introduce the lions into their larger habitat. It's a big step toward the final goal of the project.
It's a very big moment for me. It's what I've been waiting for.
Make the call.
Okay, it's fine. Both gates are open.
Zyra, ever the adventurous young lioness, is the first to appear, followed by her two inquisitive brothers. Zyra is wary and looks to her bolder brother, Lataba, before taking her first step outside the boma and into the larger area. Lastly, Mara joins her sub-adult cubs. One pride of white lions, one step closer to freedom in the Timbavati. It's the start of Phase 2 and a hugely symbolic milestone for the team. Linda and the Shangaan tribe celebrate the return of the white lion to the land of its legend. The spirit lion has returned to the people who revere it and to its native home. But can the legendary lions survive the challenges of their independence? In Phase 2, the lions face their greatest challenge. Will they be able to hunt for themselves? Linda monitors them daily. Mara's keen hearing picks up on a nearby wildebeest, and she sets off to investigate.
I'm just leaving the cubs behind so that they don't interfere. And we might have another sound from her to call the cubs in to help, but I think she's deliberately left them behind.
While their mother is scouting for prey, Zyra and Regius also explore their new habitat. There is a close sibling bond between them, and they stick together as a team while they take in the strange new sights and sounds of the bush. Suddenly, they hear an alarm call. Even the most common sounds are startling. the wildebeest present one more novelty to the cubs. It's their first encounter with prey, and the young lions still have a long way to go before they can hunt successfully. But outside the safety of their new training ground, the lions themselves are at risk of being the prey. It's legal to hunt lions in parts of the Greater Timbavati Reserve. Lion hunting is a multi-million-dollar industry in South Africa and has given rise to farms which breed lions for hunting. One such farmer is Pete Warren. He believes his lions are like any other farm animal.
You tell me the difference between a lion and a chicken. A lion is an ideal farm animal. Why? Because it loves sleeping and eating. This lion at least has a 5-year span, which I rear him to become a male trophy, which will then sit on the wall for a long time.
These farmed lions are often shot in a small enclosure where they have no means of escape. It's an industry known as canned hunting. It's controversial, but legal and highly profitable. A white trophy lion can fetch up to $130,000. To produce the most impressive trophy lions, farmers often resort to inbreeding, mating two related lions together to guarantee a desirable trait, like pure white coats. As a result of these breeding methods, many scientists believe that all captive-bred white lions are inbred.
The problem for the white lions has been twofold. First of all, they were removed from the wild artificially over a period of about 4 decades. And in these hunting camps where they were held, they were inbred largely. So the second problem has been now that scientists are concerned about returning them to the wild because of this inbreeding.
Some scientists, like Dr. York, believe Linda's captive-bred white lions increase the risk of introducing suspect genes into the Timbavati ecosystem.
I definitely understand the motivation and the rationale behind attempting to release white lions into the wild, such as what's happening at Timbavati. But my real fear is that if one were to release certain negative traits into the population, it's nearly impossible to go back once it's happened. If there's anything that we've learned from history is it's not nice to fool with Mother Nature.
Although the father of Mara's cubs is distantly related to her, Jason and Linda have taken this into consideration. In their protocol, they say they will only breed their lions to unrelated mates. Mara and her cubs haven't hunted successfully since their release into the larger area. But Mara is showing interest in a warthog burrow. In the wild, lions normally eat every 3 to 4 days when prey is readily available. Mara's desperate digging finally draws the attention of her hungry cubs. But their prey has long since given them the slip. Mara and Zaira watch hungrily as the warthog makes its getaway. It's a steep learning curve for the lions. To survive in the wild, they must learn to hunt. Lions have the best chance of success by hunting under the cover of darkness. It's been almost 10 days since the lions ate. They're hungry. Letaba can smell prey nearby. Mara's hunger lures her back to the warthog burrow. Clumsy with a lack of energy, the cubs help their mother, digging toward the source of the scent. They work as a team and rest in turns. Then, Letaba performs an intricate move that will become his trademark among the team. Linda calls it the corkscrew maneuver. After 3 hours of digging, the lions finally extract a warthog. But killing it is a risky task. These tough little animals can inflict a deadly blow with their sharp tusks. Though exhausted, the white lions have teamed up and made their first kill. It's a defining moment for the project so far. But unseen challenges lie ahead. A year passes in Phase 2, and the lions grow bigger and more confident. During this time, Jason records 95 successful kills of large and small prey, mostly undertaken by Mara, who's become an accomplished provider for her young family. Any fears that the pride might not be able to feed themselves have been dispelled. But tragedy lies in wait. On this night, the white lions set out to hunt for warthogs as usual. It has become their specialty. It's the end of the rainy season, and the sand is soft and damp underfoot. The lions take turns digging and crawl deep inside the burrow to get to their prey. But tonight, the fine Timbavati soil is heavy with rain. Nobody witnesses the burrow collapse, burying Mara, who is trapped inside. Linda and her team share their grief with the Shangaan people. To Chief Koza, the loss of Mara is comparable to the death of a queen. The demise of their mother highlights the fragility of the reintroduction process. Zaira, Letaba, and Regius are now left without their mother's guidance. They have spent the past 3 years inseparable from her. From captivity to a strange natural habitat, the young pride stuck together and beat the odds. Now, they must face their challenges on their own. Mara's death has occurred at a critical time for her 3-year-old cubs. The together starting to reach sexual maturity. Linda and Jason must adapt their protocol and separate Zyra from her brothers before she becomes receptive to mating.
We're at a major crossroads in the project. Mara's death was not what we expected. The whole plan has to change now. Normally, a young lioness like Zyra would remain with her mother, but she's on her own now, and we have to rethink altogether.
They decide to move Zyra back to the acclimation boma while they find a suitable mate for her. Although they are 2 miles away, Zyra can hear her brothers roar to identify their location. Linda and Jason must also find mates for the young males. Their cubs and Zyra's will be the future of the project. Lataba and Regius have grown to resemble adult males. Their manes have become thick and full, and they spend a lot of time together, forming a coalition that will increase their chances of hunting successfully. In the 4 weeks since their mother's death, the brothers survived on small prey, but they are now ready for a new challenge. Lataba takes the lead, instinctively suffocating the wildebeest, while Regius can't wait for his meal. After a month on her own in the boma, Zyra has a big day ahead. An imposing male has arrived. This huge lion is Zyra's new mate. If she can produce cubs in this natural habitat, the project will have a new generation of lions that won't be habituated to people. When Zyra is an estrus and receptive to mating, the male will be released into her boma. For the following 4 weeks, the pair will get to know each other through the fence, a practice that Jason terms boma bonding. A month later, the big day arrives. A veterinarian has determined Zyra is an estrus and ready to meet her mate. But lions can be aggressive towards stranger lions, so the vet is on standby. The male patrols the dividing fence. Jason pushes open the gate, and the male immediately enters Zyra's boma. It's a tense time as the large male pursues his prize. But he's a bulky lion with a thick mane, and he spent his 10 years of life in a small enclosure. Zyra is fitter and light on her feet, and she keeps him at bay. Undaunted by the chase, her mate roars to advertise possession of his new territory. Only time will tell if this is to be a successful union. Linda and Jason are on their way to pick up 2 wild, tawny females that have been donated to the project from a nearby reserve. These lionesses will soon be companions to Lataba and Regius. Once they're sedated, the vet prepares the lionesses for their journey, where they'll meet the White brothers and form a new pride. Meanwhile, Zyra and her mate have reached a truce. The male picks up on telltale signs of her estrus and displays the phlegm response. He curls his upper lip to expose scent glands, which will tell him if she's ready to conceive. Their courtship continues as the pair roars in chorus to strengthen their social bond. They mate during short intervals throughout the night. The male nips Zyra's neck. It's a natural behavior, believed to stimulate ovulation. But this is Zyra's first estrus, and there is no guarantee that she will conceive. Nearby, Lataba and Regius are on the hunt. Warthogs are still their favorite prey. Lataba corkscrews away with no help from his brother. But these siblings are about to be disrupted. The lioness pair has arrived, and the crates are driven into the habitat adjoining the brothers.
We're moving the crates right into the entrance of the gate, so that there's minimal chance of them turning tail and running straight out of the boma.
By morning, it's time to release them. The 2 brothers watch intently as the 2 lionesses bolt into the neighboring habitat. These females will introduce wild genes into the project and produce cubs, which are not considered inbred. Meeting their mates is the next big step for the young brothers. It's been 110 days since Zyra's last mating. Linda and Jason have been monitoring her frequently, hoping for any sign of a new generation of white lion cubs. And the wait is finally over.
Do you see them just behind that grass over there? It's her den.
Difficult to see her. You see how long the grass is. It's a very good spot.
In the safety of the long grass, Zyra has produced the first cubs of the project, born on the soil of their ancestors. one little lioness, and 2 brothers. Now, Linda and Jason can focus the project on these naturally born cubs. Non-habituated to humans, they are better candidates for release into the greater Timbavati ecosystem in the future. But this can only occur if they can protect them from hunting.
We've been working intensively with the South African government trying to get the white lions declared a protected animal, and in fact this whole region declared a protected area.
In the meantime, they continue to rally support for their project. Dr. Ian Player is a world-renowned conservationist.
The white lions were here. They were removed for various purposes. They are now being put back thanks to the Global White Lions Trust. And all the objections and protestations, both for and against, that's all human politics. But the important thing is that the white lions are back here, and they ultimately will be very important in readdressing the balance of this area.
While Linda has support, she still has her critics.
As conservationists, we have to be pragmatic, we have to be sensible. One has to question whether projects, for example, like introducing white lions in Timbavati, are really going to do anything meaningful to addressing the problems that face lions in a broader context.
If one wants to protect the white trait and the natural environment, I think this has to be done naturally. The best way of doing that would be to protect the particular area where the trait has occurred spontaneously in nature, and make sure that humans aren't going in and taking these animals out, and let natural selection take over.
Despite the criticism, Linda believes in her project.
These are the first cubs to be returned without human intervention in the Timbavati region, untouched by human hands. They are Mara's legacy, and with them comes the pride and the love and the joy that is celebrated by the Shangaan people of this region, and I celebrate along with them.
Linda Tucker has achieved much of what she set out to do 6 years ago. The 3 founding cubs of her Global White Lion Protection Trust have adapted successfully to their natural habitat. Zyra's mate is not related to her, and she has produced cubs who will not be habituated to humans. Although the plan to release these cubs into the wild may never come to pass unless they are protected from hunting, for now at least, these white lions have a safe, natural environment in which to live and breed. And the wild savanna of Timbavati awaits a time when it will be safe for the return of the white lion.